Hey guys, welcome back to One More Ridge podcast. I'm your host, Brad Foster, and today we'll be talking a little storytelling, and then I will go through my compound bow setup that I'm going to try to kill an elk with up in Wyoming this year. The story starts in 2009. I was still a college student at the University of Wyoming, and I was up elk hunting. I usually go hunting with my buddy Dustin, but at the time he had family in town, and so I was up in the mountains solo. In Wyoming, you could hunt with a crossbow, and that was my weapon of choice this year. Poor college student, had a bare bones crossbow, nothing too exciting, not like the fancy ones you see now, but it did the job. Start with the story is morning hunt wasn't very successful, didn't have very much there wasn't a lot of chatter with the elk. The elk weren't bugling, weren't cow calling, anything like that. It was pretty warm, and so kind of just walking around. The thing I messed up on was I bought a little canister of cow estrus. It's a cow elk urine in a bottle from Walmart right before I got up there. Highly recommend you not do this. I put it in my pocket, and when I was walking around the woods, the bottle broke open, and so I smelt so bad of cow, cow elk pee. Um, it soaked my pants, it soaked everything underneath, my layers, everything like that. So around 2 o'clock, um, as I was walking back to my truck, go find a different area for an evening hunt, I coughed a little bit, and two cow elk jumped from below me to my left. So right away I sat down, I took off my backpack, and then I just kind of waited. I did a couple cow calls, and this calf from the left ran up, and there's two cows from the right, from the up on top. They came down too. And in Wyoming is archery is either sex. So I could have shot a cow, I could have shot the calf, or I could shoot a bull elk. So I was sitting there waiting. I was getting ready to actually shoot one of the cows that wasn't nursing the calf. And all of a sudden, to my right, I heard a bugle, and you could tell it was a mature elk because of just how gravelly his bugle was. Um, and so I was waiting for him to come down. I did another cow call, even though these cow elk in front of me were less than 20 yards. And so I saw him out of the corner of my eye. I just saw his nose and his brown tines. That's the first point of his antlers. I could see his nose and his brow tines, and I knew he was coming in. So I just sat there and waited. It felt like forever, but it was really only like a minute and a half, a little bit longer than that. But he walked into the field I was at, 12 yards, took a shot. The shot was good. I didn't even wait. I grabbed my bow. I pulled the trigger, shot him, was so excited. I ran to where he was standing and I grabbed my arrow. Arrow was covered in blood. And the adrenaline was kicking and running everything in my body that I just started following the blood trail right away. This is a big no-no to do because A, my pack was still 12 yards back of where I just took the shot and I was on the blood trail. And B, you have to kind of let the elk settle down because when it got hit, it just took off. You got to let elk settle down. It's more peaceful for them to just go find somewhere to bed down to pass away. So I was so amped up. This is a big old bull, and I was excited. So I started following his blood trail, and then I got 50 yards into the blood trail, being super quiet. Then I realized, oh shit, my backpack with all my knives, my game bags, my hunting license is back at my backpack. And this whole time, I had my phone with the GPS on it. And back then, you had to pay for only one state. And so I only had Wyoming on my phone, but I marked my backpack before I shot, just in case this scenario would happen. So I looked at my phone. I was like, okay, my backpack's this way. I'm going to put my crossbow on the blood trail leaned up against a log and mark it on my phone or my GPS. So I did that. I put the coordinates into where my backpack was and started walking to my backpack. Got to my backpack. I was like, cool. Now let's go get the crossbow and go find my bull elk. Just then my phone dies. And I try to grid, figure out where my crossbow is or the blood trail. I was trying to look for anything or even the elk at this time. I was searching. So I shot the elk around 2:30. I was searching throughout the night. It went dark around 8:30, 9 o'clock. So after that, I was like, okay, let's just go to my truck. I'll go to town where Dustin is, and then I will charge my phone, and then I'll come back out. So I get to Dustin's house. He's like, hey man, what's going on? I said, hey, I shot an elk, but my phone died, so I need to charge it before we get up there. And he's like, let's just jump in my Jeep, and my Jeep has a car charger in it. So we'll just kill two birds with one stone. So like, all right, cool. I feel bad taking away from your family, but if you want to go, let's go. On our way up there, we're in a little Jeep Cherokee, and his Jeep Cherokee used to be a driver's ed car. So on the passenger side, it had a brake and a gas, as well as the driver's side had the brake, gas, and the steering wheel. So he disconnected the gas on the passenger side because too many of his other buddies would hit the gas when he should have been braking. And so we were heading up the road, pitch dark. It's probably like 11 o'clock, maybe midnight around this time. All of a sudden, we see in the headlights a black cow, and he smokes it. He's driving, he hits this black cow, and it totals his Jeep. Um, Interesting about when he hit the brakes on his side, I also hit the brakes on the passenger side. So basically, this Jeep was locked up before it even hit the cow. Totaled his Jeep. We had to climb on top of his Jeep to call his dad for cell phone service. And his dad came out with the buddy, got the trailer, or with the trailer, got the Jeep loaded up. They headed into town, but we still had to go to the mountain to get the elk. So phone was fully charged. We went to the GPS point, found the crossbow on the blood trail. Then we found the elk. The elk was less than 200 yards away from where I shot it. So, moral of the story is one, don't buy cow elk estrus pee from Walmart because the bottles aren't very good. You're better off buying like the Wind Direction because no matter what, they're still going to smell you because elk have fantastic noses. They're not going to come to you just because you smell like a dead or a cow elk in estrus. Two, make sure your GPS or your devices that you're using are fully charged. Um, because if I would have been fully charged, Dustin would probably still have his Jeep. That cow he'd probably be burger right now, but the cow would have lived through the car crash. Um, and yeah, it was just make sure stuff's charged up. They have battery packs now that's the size of your phone that will help charge it, and solar packs and stuff like that. Um, and the third thing is be patient. I jumped the gun when I ran straight to the arrow and then started following the trail. Like it's okay to be patient. Take a beat, take a breath. Um, let nature like enjoy nature for a little bit because I would love to go back and do that again. It just takes some extra time. But we got it out, we got it processed, called the sheriff, let him know that the dead cow was on the side of the road because we had to move it on the side of the road. Um, so just be patient with that. So I'll post some pictures of what that elk looked like. He was my biggest elk by far. Um, he scored 327. The scoring system is kind of interesting. It's basically you measure one side of the antler, the other side of the antler, the width and everything like that. It's further down the line of trophy hunting or whatever you want to call it. But to me, it's a trophy because it's on the wall. The meat was in the freezer. Um, So that's my wrap up on my one and only Wyoming elk hunt with a crossbow. Highly recommend it. Wyoming, you can hunt a crossbow during archery season. Crossbow or compound bow, just get out in the woods in September in Wyoming. So that's that story. Here's my story on buying a new compound bow in Colorado. So I wanted to switch to compound just because A, I want more of a challenge than the crossbow. And two, if you hunt in Colorado with a crossbow, you have to have some disability um, with hunting, like a physical disability, stuff like that. And I don't have that. So I jumped into wanting a compound bow. So I always kind of just putz around when I go to like Cabela's or Sportsman's or Shields or any of that stuff. Just kind of see what their sales are because I'm a big sales. I love sales. So I was in Sportsman's one time and I saw this Expedition APX. It's a 2003 model and I bought it last year. So it was in 2004. So it was last year's model. And I bought it on super sale because turns out Sportsman's Warehouse didn't have a archery guy there to set up my bow. That's the first lessons I learned is if you buy a bow, get it set up right then and there. Make sure that the shop you're buying your bow from actually has an archery tech that's able to set up your bow. Don't do what I did, buy the bow, set it in the case, and just let it sit there for like 8 months. So finally I pull it out. It was about 3 or 4 months ago. Went down to Shields and they had a couple sales going on, and I was able to buy a sight. I did an HHA sight. That's a slider. What it is just I could adjust what yardage is on the knob on the side, so I can turn it up, turn it down depending on what target I'm shooting at. I got a limb released archery rest. What it is it has the little forks, and then you pull it back and it rests your arrow. Um, any sights or arrow rests in general, like it's just personal preference. Like, yeah, to figure out what you like. It to me, I don't want to go full high grade and spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on this, but I also don't want to take it in the woods and have a piece malfunction because I bought the cheapest one that there was. So I went to mid grade with a lot of this stuff. Um, and then I have it right here, so I'll just pick it up and show you. There's the sight there with the arrow rest. The arrow rest is just RDX Ultra Rest. Don't really know what that is, but and then I got a stabilizer on it. But I would recommend just finding what fits you best, um, what fits your hand. Talk to the bow shops themselves. The bow shop people are super intelligent when it comes to this kind of stuff. I mean that's their job. That's what they like to do. Um, I enjoy going to the bow shop and just kind of hanging out with those guys, just because they are a wealth of knowledge. Um, for instance, on my bow, I had to get the bottom cam replaced because it was um, fraying some of the strings. And once I saw that it was fraying the string, I stopped shooting it. I took it to them, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm very green, very new to this. I'm like, fix it. Help me fix it. Like, what can I do to prevent it? Stuff like that. Because they know it a lot better than I do. I'm still learning. I can learn a lot from the internet. Internet's great, doing research stuff like that. But for physically doing the labor, bow shops are fantastic. So here's my takeaway: go out, get a bow, get it fitted for your hands. Go out, get a bow, get it fitted for you. Um, Talk to them what you are kind of expecting for it. Um, and just, don't be afraid to have a little fun with it. I enjoy shooting um, archery a lot. It just eases your mind. You really can't think about anything else. I'm lucky I have a target range within 15 minutes from my house, so go there constantly. And I enjoy it because you can't think about anything else. You have to think about, your release. You got to think about your anchor point. You got to think about the target, um, stuff like that. I will say invest money into a good release because I tried to save money on a release and I used a used release, and I am telling you that is not the way to go because once you're pulling back, I'm pulling back 70 pounds, um, and had my old release. It was a used one. I had it laying around for a while from college days. Um, Went to pull back 70 pounds. The first couple times it worked well. And then one time I was pulling back and it went boom and hit me right in the face. Like the release gave way. Um, I barely pulled it back. It was probably like a quarter of the way pulled back. I pulled back, the release released and I hit myself in the face. And the arrow went about 30 yards down the lane. I was able to get that arrow, but I was like, oh crap. So then I took it home, cleaned it, thought it was good to use, shot it a handful of times, and then one time I pulled it back and it was about three-quarters of the way back. And the arrow my bow was pointed more of it up because when I pull back, I start up, and when I go down, I use the momentum of when I go down to pull the rest of the string back. And so I was about three-quarters of the way back, and it released again. And I smacked myself in the face so hard. And that arrow is still lost. It's still somewhere in that hillside, and I don't know where it is. So the next day I went to Cabela's and I bought a release that the old boy recommended. The thing is it was a thumb release, and I'm used to the trigger. Like I'm a born and raised rifle hunter. So I have done everything with a trigger finger. And I tried the thumb release. It was uncomfortable for me, but if you're into getting into hunting, you're new, a thumb there's a lot of people going towards the thumb release. That might be the newest thing. They say you have more control. To me, the trigger release, the thumb or the finger release is more natural to me. So that's what I use. So I would say go more mid-tier for your equipment because you don't have to spend a shit ton of money just to get into hunting, but you don't want to do the cheapest stuff because the cheapest stuff will fail. So get into it, fall in love with it, then you could slowly upgrade your stuff. Um, and with that, if you have any questions, email us one more ridge podcast at gmail.com. Find us on Instagram, one more _ridge. TikTok, be posting some of these clips on those social media. And yeah, just remember to go one more ridge. That's where the more animals are. That's where you challenge yourself. Just go one more ridge and have a great day. Thanks, guys.